Hello, today for review I've got Sennheiser MOMENTUM True Wireless 3, third revision of their True Wireless flagship. I did a review for the second version some time ago, and in terms of sound it was a great model. Sennheiser has a great experience in tuning sound, but they were lacking a bit of modern features, like they have active noise cancelling, but it was like average, and the microphone quality was more or less okay but not perfect, and so on and so forth. So a lot of small nuances that put them a bit behind the competitors, especially Sony. But recently Sennheiser released an updated version, and I was lucky enough to get them pretty fast since the moment of release. And here Sennheiser did two logical things. First, they didn't change sound too much because it was pretty good already, but they added better noise cancelling, wireless charging, and so on. And at the same time they reduced price a little bit, so it's just $250, which makes them more competitive, especially comparing to other offers. But more comparisons we'll talk a bit later. So let's have a closer look. And as you can see, they even listed main features here. So signature sound, adaptive noise cancellation, high quality voice pickup, I will add the test of microphone, wireless charging, and even IPX4 splash resistant, so it can be used in the gym or somewhere else. In terms of codecs, they support aptX and aptX adaptive. Unfortunately, they don't support LDAC, but you know, aptX adaptive nowadays is more than enough for the true wireless models. It's not a big limitation in general. Box is pretty pleasant, and in my opinion it's much better than Sony with their new approach to the packaging. So inside of the box we get some useless papers, case with earpieces themselves, short instruction on how to make them up and running, and a box with accessories. But in the accessories set, actually, USB Type-C cable, some paper that suggests downloading and installing official application, manual in many languages, this rubber rings to improve fit if you need them. Probably they will be useful during some active usage, and 3 extra set of tips of different size, and I especially like that it's just regular silicone tips, not that foam like experiments that other companies do. So as you can see, package and accessory set is done on a pretty decent level that one can probably expect from this price tier. In terms of design, they didn't change the case much. Its size almost the same, and it still uses this denim-like cover. It looks stylish, but probably it will wear with time, probably gather some grease and fingerprints, but I don't know, maybe if you use it accurately it won't happen. And here is the charging port and LED indicator. What is unusual here, it's on the front panel. It has a pretty decent magnet, so it opens nicely and you can pull out earpieces easily. So here are charging contacts, so everything is as you expect from the True Wireless model. In terms of design of True Wireless pieces themselves, they changed pretty noticeably. They became much better than the previous revision, because previous revision was sticking out of your ear. This one has lower profile, fitting a bit deeper into your ear, so looks more modern and more fancy. Also, they changed color a little bit. You can get one of 3 versions, black one, gray one, and white, if I remember right. So wearing comfort is pretty nice, at least for me. They hold really reliably. There is infrared sensor that detects when you put it out of your ears and put back, so it can pause it automatically. And controls are sensor controls used here, of course, and you can remap it in the companion app that I will show you. Here is one microphone port and another microphone port, so one is for voice and other definitely for active noise cancelling, so everything that you expect from the True Wireless models are here. Spouts are average in length, so passive sound isolation is also average, but luckily active noise cancelling does good work here. It's still not at the Sony level, but much closer, so Sennheiser 2 was noticeably more behind the third revision of Sony. Taking now fourth revision of Sony and third revision of Sennheiser, they are pretty close. Especially I like that they improved the noise cancelling of high frequencies, that previous model suffered a little bit. Of course there is a lip for holding the tips and protective grill, but you know, I like more traditional spouts with slightly bigger lengths. But still, in terms of design, they look stylish, and they hold connection pretty reliably. I've seen some complaints about the connection quality, but I didn't experience a lot of distortion, stuttering or connection drops. As usual, one exception is when you enter shopping mall with a lot of Wi-Fi networks and with a lot of interference, they can show some traces of hiccuping. But besides that, they worked okay for me. Here is the companion app, looks pretty pleasant. On top you can see the earpieces themselves, model name, connection status, battery, and here you can manage the connections of these earphones, and as you can see, unfortunately it can connect to only one device at once, no multi-point here. For me it's not an issue, but some people complained about that. And here you can manage pairings, deleting them one by one or all of them simultaneously. So equalizer is really basic, just bass, mid and treble, but you can boost bass or you can boost voice to enhance speech clarity. And actually it works pretty okay. So sound check, you can create customizer, it simplifies creating of presets, but it requires registration and connection to the internet, so I don't use it oftenly. Transparency mode, you can select which one you'd like, with music or pausing music if you need. And adaptive noise cancelling, it even shows you how it does it. This job cancelling noise, you can select off, just wind suppression, or you can turn it on. And also sound zones, it also requires registration at Sennheiser, and it's that feature that many companies add to their software, but I really doubt that someone uses it. It allows you to create different presets based on geolocation, so when you're at home, when you're in the office, it's supposed to change the settings automatically, but honestly, I think it's too complicated, even for me, and I'm tech geek. And here you can customize controls, so you can enable them, disable, and here you can see the default settings. They are pretty okay. Single tap, it's transparency mode, and for the left earpiece and for the right earpiece it's play pause. Double taps are track navigation. Triple tap it's noise cancellation or voice assistant, and hold changing the volume. Also here you can see the controls during the phone call, but they can't be remapped, so it's just for information. Also they have this part, let me turn Wi-Fi on, and they have this discover part where it's refreshing stories, and you can read some articles about music, Sennheiser and so on. So I'm not sure if you're a fan of company, probably you'd like it. And in the settings you can update firmware, you can turn off the smart pause, automatically accept calls. If you got phone call, you can pull them out of case and they will accept call automatically. Also you can select automatic power off, voice, prompt and tone, Codec, you can change what codec they will use, model name and factory resets. And also you can disable some of that features, so if you don't use that sound zones and if you don't use sound check, for example, if you don't want to register at Sennheiser like I do, you can disable them and make interface more lightweight. Actually, as you can see, companion app is doing everything pretty well. Here is a traditional microphone test, recording this part of the video with earpieces in my ear, so they are in a natural position. I won't apply any gain correction or equalization here, so this part will give you an idea of how their microphones sound. And of course about the sound, as I've already said, they didn't change tuning much. It's still a fun representation with forward dynamics, slightly accenting emotions, but they made bass a bit more present and they made the accent on low frequencies not in terms of quantity, but they made the low frequencies more punchy and more impactful. So if you like tight bass with good punch, it's definitely an interesting model. So low frequencies goes to maximum depth possible for the true wireless model. Of course, it can't be compared with wired models, but still depth is present, and thanks to this boosted punch, you'll get a nice sense of pretty present low frequencies. I've read some complaints about the missing bass, but probably it was not proper fit. If you want more weight too, you can use bass boost option in the companion app, or you can use equalizer, but I prefer not to do that because for me quantity of low frequencies is more than enough, and actually activating bass boost adding weight but reducing tightness and amount of overtone, so I prefer bass boost off. Natural instruments of course lacking a bit of small nuances, but it's typical for the true wireless models and it's noticeable mainly compared to the wired models of similar price tier. So in general, low frequency sounds pretty good, saturated, at least to my taste. It's not a bass head model, but accent on low frequencies in terms of dynamics is definitely present. And as an example, I've got a great Ukrainian folk electronic project Onuka and a track named Other. It presents a great bass line, punchy, impactful, deep, and lot of different instruments, really good quality of record, lot of samples that were recorded live. So despite it being electronic music, it's pretty audiophilic listening. Not, of course, not something like symphony orchestra or jazz band, but still pretty decent material to evaluate low frequencies, and these earpieces deliver it nicely, of course for the true wireless model. Mid frequencies are emotional, dynamic with slightly boosted emotions and without focus on the micro contrast. So it's not the model for those who like some natural or clinical representation, but it's not typical for the true wireless models anyway. Imagery stage is slightly above average in width and in depth, but pretty decently built with good separation of sources. And as an example here, it's Tina Turner Goldeneye, actually also pretty good test for low frequencies, and these earphones deliver it nicely too. But of course main staple here is Tina Turner's vocals, and these earpieces deliver it pretty well. Still not on the wired level, but pretty enjoyable, as well as the orchestral part here. And treble, it's slightly softer than in regular models, but still it has good extension and it does its job nice in terms of saturation with overtones. But still, of course, with that correction for the true wireless models. And comparing with wired models, of course, you're losing a noticeable part of resolution, you're losing sense of realism typical for the wired models, but it's a price we paying for the comfort of the true wireless connections. And as an example, it's Snarky Puppy beep box track with lot of instruments that goes to the treble area, and usually it sounds pretty poor with true wireless models, but with Sennheisers it's pretty okay and pretty enjoyable. And actually, speaking about the comparisons, let's do it this way. So as you can see, Sony has a bit smaller case, and probably it's a bit more comfortable to operate one-handed, but besides that, difference isn't big. And here are earpieces themselves. Actually, to my ears, Sennheisers are fitting slightly better. And in terms of sound, actually, I'd say that they are on the same level, with Sony being a bit more present at the low frequencies, but they have more weight and a bit better definition at the lows, while Sennheiser sounds tighter. On the mid frequencies, actually, I prefer Sennheiser because they are more emotional and that it suits genres that I listen, and it suits my taste. And in the treble area, Sony does a bit better, but mainly because of LDAC codecs. So difference isn't big, so anyway, and you know, in vast majority of situations, in terms of sound, subjectively I prefer Sennheisers. But on the positive side for Sony is also a slightly better active noise cancelling, and also they have a better battery life a little bit, and their automatic chat mode is also nice. Their microphone pick up your voice, and when you start speaking, they activating transparency mode. Pretty good feature. Also, what we've got in this price range, DVLA Phantom actually is more natural, more saturated, so if you need just pure sound quality, DVLA is like #1 choice. Anyway, let's go back to the Sennheiser. It's a good development of Sennheiser ideas, and actually they made earpieces better and at the same time a bit more affordable, which is a good thing. And definitely we are waiting for the AirPods Pro 2 or some other revision, probably this fall. Thank you for listening, thank you for your attention, and of course have a nice day.